Okay, let's go back to that game at St James's Park. Danny Murphy's already said, and I think he's right, that as things currently are, and probably as they near enough always were, that tackle with a person going through, goal scoring opportunity clearly denied, it's a red card. What happens next, though, has been the subject of much conversation, Darren, in that, of course, it's the Liverpool captain, so the captain can't go and remonstrate with the referee. It is Virgil himself, who showed plenty of frustration, old-fashioned dissent to the referee about the decision, and in the end had to be led away not just from the pitch but from the technical area down the tunnel by Jurgen Klopp. People are calling for his suspension that he's inevitably going to get to be extended. Is that an overreaction?
Yeah, most of the people who are calling for this suspension to be extended are people from rival teams. So I would suggest they've got a vested interest in that. As captain, he's allowed to articulate...
You're suggesting bad faith among people about football? Come on,
do you know
guy.
what, Darren? I actually heard Cole Robinson this morning on Simon and Jim. And Robbo is a big Liverpool fan. And he said he should get another game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. And I in my day, you know, you'd get a lot of bans because you always remonstrated. What I don't understand, I get the emotion of Virgil's frustrated. He thinks that he got because he felt himself get the ball, but
So I just say, you say in your day, and sometimes when people say in my day, they're talking about the field. You are very much connected with the game. You're not talking from a point of view of somebody who sort of played 25 years ago or something. I mean, you got to the Europa League final. You know, you are still very much connected with the game, and so it isn't that long since somebody like yourself would be able to articulate yourself to a referee, is it?
Yeah, but what you could do is they'd understand they weren't governed by guidelines of having to, I don't think, report what the conversation was after you'd been sent off. Now, if you stayed on the pitch for 5 minutes, of course, but you could tell the ref what you thought of him in a very expletive way, and next time you'd see him, because you'd probably seen it back on the video and you know he's probably right, you'd just say sorry to him and he'd be fine. You know, that's the way it was. You'd call him everything and he'd say get off, and then you'd go, and you'd even have a pop maybe on when he comes in. But then you'd watch it back and you'd say, next time you saw him, you'd apologise and he'd say, don't worry, no problem. The refs, that was the way it was. The things that players, I think, now need to get used to and should have done by now, and Virgil will look back on it and think, what was I doing? Yeah. Because you've got VAR. Now, if you're in the moment, you don't know, have I took his leg? Did I get the ball? What? Yeah. I'm going off instinct, so I'm going to have a whinge. But actually, you don't need to whinge. You're going to go to VAR. When the VAR comes back and goes, yeah, it's the right decision, you're off, your brain really should be saying, better just walk then, because maybe they're both wrong and I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, and get off. And especially with the new rules, not showing petulance, not showing, bad behaviour, not time waste, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So I think, on top of what we were talking about before, trying to set this bar high, and they want to stick to it for consistency, I think they're going to have to give him another game.
Yeah, listen, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with any of that, and I think that as far as I would just think this, and I'm probably living in a utopia, but I would love to see a referee, a little bit like with the Trent situation, just push Virgil to one side and say, listen, you're the captain. You know the rules. Yeah, you know what these new guidelines are. If you continue as you are now, I'm going to have to report. You're going to exactly, and then you're going to miss more games. Manage the situation. It's not impossible to do.
It's not, but then the argument against that, and it's hard for me because it's Van Dijk and Liverpool, and I don't want him to be banned, but
no,
the opposite side to that is don't put a referee in that position.
Yeah.
You know,
Darren, you forget you're a man. I'm not joking now. You're an eminently reasonable bloke. When I've talked to you about things, you try, even in the most disastrous of situations, you try and see both sides of an argument if they're there. I mean, the trouble is, football is happening with 50,000 people at St James's Park screaming at you. With Van Dijk is an imposing physical figure. I think the danger of getting him to one side to calm down that exact moment is very, very limited. Yeah. And I wish I was wrong. I wish that it were as not easy, that's not the right word, but as calmly doable as you're suggesting. I think in professional sport, it's very, very hard to get that done. The problem they've got now, apart from whether they need to ban him further, is that whichever way they go now, all football fans, and this is where we are relentless football fans, will, when it happens to their team, and if they do ban him, There'll be somebody saying about that. If they don't ban him and the next player comes along, gives the referee a volley and then does get a ban, everyone's on the bandwagon saying that Liverpool are being treated more leniently and all the rest of it. Now, of course, I don't know what football fans want out of this. I consider myself one, but, if football fans, if you read social media on a Monday morning after the games, there'd be no players left. They're all being sent off. They're all being banned. They're all getting extended bans. And they're all being a disgrace. They should never play the game again. I mean, who would be left to play? Danny, you'd still be playing.
Yeah, we've got to
I
give
could
it...
get an injection in my knee and carry on. It'd be ridiculous.
We've got to give it context, though, because look at the way McAllister conducted himself. He went off, scandalous decision, had every right to be absolutely fuming. And I don't know how he did it, by the way. He went off, it got rescinded. Now, okay, I don't think Van Dijk's will get rescinded. That's not what I'm saying. But
no,
as soon as you conduct yourself the right way and you move off the pitch, if it's wrong, other people are going to tell. Other people are going to see it, say it, and report it. You shout. I know I've been there. I've said some horrendous things to referees. I really have, which I won't repeat. But. He can't, unfortunately, with these new laws, with this crackdown on bad behaviour and disrespect, I don't think we'll see a player doing this again if they come down heavy on Verge. It just so happens as a Liverpool player, and unfortunately, Liverpool's my team, but I don't think this is something we will see continue if they come down now.
And for all I've said, I actually agree with what you're saying. And you know me, sometimes I can be quite intransigent on subjects where I feel quite strongly. But
of course.
do think you're both right. The basic premise of these guidelines is to ensure that the referees are protected. And the reason we want referees to be protected is because it's a few choice words at Premier League level. It's something much more criminal. Quite literally criminal outside of the professional game, and we want referees to be the sole arbiters of the game, but protected and respected. Well, that's not going to happen if we turn a blind eye when it's the players that are celebrated, but we don't when it's the players who are not.
I think the other thing, Dan, is that if you're looking a certain way in terms of your demeanour and your body language, it doesn't always correlate with what comes out your mouth. It usually does, granted, but I think there has to be some evidence-based report from the referee of the wording used, because you can, on occasion, look really angry but still say something that's not aggressive or using swear words.
And that's why we'll see what the ref has to say about Virgil, because it could be that it looked a lot worse, a big man looming over the referee and all the rest. It could be that it was not quite as serious as it appeared. Yeah. And, of course, we're always dramatising things. We love the drama of the games and we dramatise them. That is what we do. I agree. I think it's probably doubtful, Danny, but we're trying to give a great player the benefit of whatever doubt there might be. We'll take a quick break. We've got a lot to get through. We'll come back. We'll be getting all the latest odds on many, many things. And moving ahead, I'll try to tell you all about it. We're plugging our live football as well. We've got an absolute ton of it. All that's coming up very, very soon. Here we'll look at some big transfers that are still percolating in this last week of the transfer window here on talkSPORT, where everything is available to you on the website. You'll find all about the transfers. Just go to our website, talksport.com.